Hey folks, Steve Urban here from recruiting and consulting firm Riderflex. As a recruiter and a career coach, I routinely get phone calls from candidates asking for my advice or my thoughts around how AI and robotics, how it's going to affect the workforce, jobs, the future, etc. They're calling to just, get my opinion on things. A lot of people have seen that I post pretty regularly lately about AI and robotics and what I think it's how I think it's going to change things. And so people feel like I have a decent grasp on what's happening. I guess that's fair to say. I'm probably a little more versed than you know, the average guy, but I'm definitely not an expert by any means. So I don't want to come across that way. But I do aggressively stay up on what's happening. I read as many books as I can. I listen to all kinds of podcasts about it. I read articles. I play around with all the tools myself, and so I'm pretty up to speed on what's happening. And I'm happy to share my advice and my opinions when people call me. So a lot of times people are nervous, they're a little scared, they're wondering what's going to happen to their job or what jobs they should be applying for. So I get those career advice phone calls and messages on this topic of AI and robotics. And I feel like, it's my job to stay on top of that, right? I mean, that's what I do for a living. I place people in jobs. And just as an entrepreneur and a business owner, I need to stay on top of what's happening with jobs in the workforce and where things are headed because it affects Riderflex. So it affects the candidates I serve. It affects my business and my employees and my team. So that's why I stay on top of it. I'm pretty aggressive about it, as some of you have seen in my posts, because it's what's happening right now. It's the hot thing, right? I mean, I'm recording this, by the way, on October 3rd. And I think OpenAI just closed the largest VC round of funding in in history for tech firms or for Silicon Valley or something like that. It was like almost $7 billion. They just closed another $7 billion, and I think it took their valuation up to 157 or 60 billion or something. I apologize if those numbers aren't exact, but if you're not watching the investing news, I mean, you got all the biggest companies on planet Earth investing heavily and aggressively with AI. It's where all the money is flowing. So it's the hot topic. So I feel like it's my responsibility for sure to stay on top of what's going on. I had put out a message a while back, I mean, a social media post on the stages I think we'll go through of changes. I want to do a verbal post about that here, a video message about those 7 stages, go over them again. And I also want to offer some tips on what you can do to protect yourself, at least in my humble opinion. So I want to go over those here in hopes that this helps, because I know a lot of people, I think there's a lot more people out there worried and nervous than you might think. And so hopefully this helps. And by the way, I could be wrong. These are my predictions. Like I said, I'm not an expert on it, uh, but this is what I see right now. I'm happy for somebody to call me in 24 months and say I was completely wrong, and I'll eat humble pie and say, yeah, you were right. But here's what I think is going to happen. 7 stages. Number one, I think we're in stage one right now, which is what I would call the gold rush stage. We're in that frenzy, that AI frenzy, right? The AI and robotics frenzy. It's cool, it's hot, it's exciting. There's not very much regulation, if at all, and money's pouring into it, and it's moving at the speed of light. So I feel like we're in this gold rush stage right now. That's stage one. Stage two, I think what'll happen is you'll see the safety and the privacy checkpoint, so to speak. I think we'll hit a safety and privacy checkpoint where, and they already have started to do that a little bit, but not much. But I do think there'll be um, some more attempts to apply regulation for safety and privacy, et cetera. I think you'll see some things hit Congress and in different states. I think there'll be attempts. I think these companies that are, Google and Apple and OpenAI and NVIDIA, I mean, these are some of the most powerful companies on the planet. And I think there'll be plenty of lobbyists to push through probably whatever they want. That's There might be some legislation, but I'll bet you a lot of stuff gets pushed through. But I think there'll be that battle. You'll see that battle a little bit on the legislation piece. We'll see that kind of play out here over the next 2 or 3 years, I think. Be interesting to see how that goes. Stage three, I think, is really robotics and AI just go mainstream. I mean, really mainstream. I mean, here's an example. I still talk to people right now on October 3rd, 2024, that still really haven't played around with ChatGPT or Gemini and still don't really understand what's going on. So I don't think it's mainstream yet. You know, the early adopters are on board, and it's kind of it's in that what do you call it, that little hump curve. I apologize. I'm losing my train of thought on what that's called, but you got the early adopters, and then you got the middle of the road, the majority of people, and then you got the late adopters. It's kind of how Facebook went, right? Your late adopters on Facebook were baby boomers and stuff that finally grabbed a hold of it. But anyway, back to my point, stage three, I think you'll see the everyday adoption. I think humanoid robots will probably start to flood the market. I think they'll be affordable. I think everybody will have an AI agent on their phone. Um, and everybody will know how to use it. Most people will know how to use it. It'll really go mainstream. That's stage three. And then what happens is stage four, which I'm calling the job disruption wave. You will see a steady increase of jobs going away. By the way, that's already kind of happening, right? So when I say stage four, the disruption wave, I mean like a major impact. Okay. 20-30% of the jobs on the planet get affected, like huge. We're already seeing a disruption of jobs because of AI, but I think stage four is when many jobs go away. The AI jobs from a laptop, keyboard, white collar jobs. I mean, it'll just be able to do so much. I mean, listen, if you haven't used ChatGPT's most recent version of uh, O1 preview, is what they're calling it. I mean, holy cow! There's so many functions right now that replaces. It's too many for me to even list. I mean, I worry about recruiters, I worry about marketing agencies, I worry about accountants, I worry about consultants, teachers. I mean, there's just so many jobs that will probably be affected. And so stage four, disruption wave. Now, that pushes right into what I'm calling stage five, which is what'll be the resistance phase. Because when job loss starts to become massive and we haven't yet transitioned into new jobs, because I do think new jobs will happen. The problem is I don't think the new jobs will come fast enough to replace the jobs that are disrupted. So you'll have this stage five, the resistance phase, where you're going to have a lot of pissed off people. And then you'll see a lot of people, in my opinion, push back. There'll be a lot of pushback because then you'll have strikes and all kinds of stuff where people are saying, this is bullshit. These robots are taking all the jobs. People are going to be unemployed. And when people can't make their rent payments and their car payments and things, it'll get messy. That resistance phase will be messy. And I think that resistance pushback messy phase is going to happen because I don't think new jobs will be created fast enough to fill in the jobs that got eliminated. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I think that's what's going to happen. Now, while that's going on, you'll start to see legislation and Congress and things move to implement universal basic income at a more aggressive pace, or UBI as they call it. And by the way, for those of you that don't know, they're already doing UBI tests across the country kind of secretly in different places in the country to see what works because they know what's coming. And by the way, this is not a socialism, capitalism, politic thing. This is just reality. If 20 or 30% of the jobs get eliminated, they're going to have to send checks to people. Okay, so it's going to be universal basic income or whatever they decide to call it. But the problem is I just don't think that'll happen fast enough. I don't think they'll figure it out fast enough. And there's going to be this resistance phase where everybody's pissed off. And then finally, stage 6 comes, UBI starts to get figured out. They start to mail out some checks. They start to pay people that don't have jobs. And at the same time, new jobs start to finally get created. The dust starts to settle, I think, a little bit. And then I do think my optimistic view is stage 7, the world of abundance. Now, you've probably heard that. For those of you that are staying on top of what's going on, you've probably heard this term, the world of abundance. If, for example, AI and robots can do everything, the cost of goods, the cost of services, everything comes down, which means it's super affordable, which means we don't need big checks, and everybody can have just about what they want. Now, that sounds wonderful, doesn't it? Getting to that point is what's going to be messy. I do think my optimistic view is that we will enter into a world of abundance where, quite frankly, a lot of people won't have to work. The cost of goods and services will be super low because AI will do so many functions, and autonomous robots will do so many functions. And I think we'll enter this, I don't know about utopia, but we're going to enter this world where I think things are going to be okay. What I want to caution you on, or the advice I want to give you is how to survive and get through the transition to the world of abundance. Okay, assuming I'm right about the world of abundance, assuming there's not, the Terminator and all that. a lot of people are predicting the scary side where robots kill us all, but I actually don't think that's going to happen. So, but now I want to talk to you about what to do, what I think, what I'm doing even personally, and what I recommend to people that call me. I'll tell them, I'll just say, hey, look, change is coming. Please don't pretend. That's the first thing I tell them. Don't pretend like change isn't coming. Don't stick your head in the sand. Listen, it's coming. Change is coming. Okay. AI and robotics, it is not going backwards, folks. I hate to tell you this, it's not going backwards. It is going to change jobs, eliminate jobs, etc. So first thing is pay attention, accept that change is coming. Okay. Be alert, keep your head up, keep your eyes open. Don't stick your head in the sand. That's number 1. Number 2, continuous learning. Get some certifications online, take some courses, read, train yourself, stay on top of what's going on. Right now, a project manager that knows how to use AI and Gemini and ChatGPT and all these other tools to be a better project manager, they're way more valuable than an old school project manager that doesn't know how to use the AI tools. That's just one example of a million I could give you. Continuous learning, learn how to use AI to your advantage, stay on top of it. That's my second point. Number 3, look for work and jobs that won't be eliminated first or that aren't already being eliminated. Okay. Try to pick professions that you think have longer legs that AI won't eliminate right away. By the way, if AI and robots get strong enough, it will eventually eliminate almost all jobs. Okay. Eventually, but there is going to be a lag time, right? So try to focus on things that you think have a longer shelf life. Let me give you an example. I have many friends that own marketing firms and marketing agencies. Man, I don't know. I'm nervous for those folks right now with what's happening with AI. Really. Okay. Um, Same for education to a large degree. I mean, so much learning can be done online. A lot of accounting functions can be done online. Consulting. I mean, if you know how to ask ChatGPT for something or Gemini or whatever your favorite large language model is, I mean, well, why do you need to call a consultant? Your consultant is right here. And so there's just pay attention to what jobs will be eliminated first. Try to stay away from those and get some learning and education around the things that you think have a longer shelf life. Last thing I'll say on that point is, uh, if I was talking to a 20-year-old and he said, "Hey, I'm thinking about being a software engineer or a plumber," I'd say be a plumber. This gives you an example. Okay, next, number 4, pivot and make changes now. Don't wait. If you're already into a profession midstream, let's say you're 35, 40, okay, that change is going to affect you. Okay, you're the ones that really need to decide now, like, okay, what am I going to do here to protect myself? What am I going to learn or add or pivot to or add to my portfolio of education to protect myself? So pivot, make changes now, don't wait. Now, if you're 60 and older, I mean, you're probably good to go because UBI will happen and you'll be retired by the time this stuff sweeps across the country anyway. So you're probably okay. But boy, if you're between 30 and 50, I'd be a little nervous right now. Now, if you're 20, you're good to go because you can make the right decisions to get in the jobs that won't be eliminated right away. Okay. And number 5, my final tip here for today is this is kind of my personal goal that I have set for myself and my team and my co-founder, my family. Assuming that this messy transition period is coming that I talked about, right? I think there's going to be a messy transition period, jobs affected. Will we figure it out eventually? Yes. Will new jobs be created eventually? Yes. Will UBI happen eventually? Yeah, probably. But I think there's going to be a short-term messy period where a lot of people are affected and angry and pissed off, and it's going to be weird. I'm doing everything I can right now to just make sure I'm ready to survive that period. I'm just trying to, how do my family, my coworkers, my company, how do we survive the transition period? Do we diversify our portfolio? Do we invest in other things? For example, at Riderflex, okay, we're a recruiting firm. I feel like recruiting is going to be affected. It's already being affected. Me and my co-founders, we bought a home services company that does air duct cleaning and dryer vent cleaning and a bunch of other skilled trade jobs. I bought that specifically because I wanted to diversify away from laptop jobs a little bit to protect myself. You should be thinking about those same kinds of things. How do you make moves to survive the transition messy period? I think that's important to really think about. And please do not pretend like everything is going to be just fine. It will probably be fine eventually, but it's going to be messy for a little bit. Guarantee it. Just ask all the software engineers that have been laid off over the last 24 months. Yeah, all the software engineers looking for jobs, looking for tech jobs, and they can't find them because guess what? AI can write code now. So be ready and make good decisions to survive during the transition period. I know it's a little bit scary. It's a little bit scary. It's an exciting time, but scary time, right? Like it's super cool. We got all these AI tools that can do everything for us. It makes life faster, easier, more knowledgeable. I mean, we have more knowledge at our fingertips right now than humanity has ever had. It's really a cool time to be alive. It's also a little bit scary when you're worried about your job getting eliminated and not being able to pay your mortgage. So it's both, right? And so pay attention and make good decisions. And hey, feel free to reach out and ask me questions. I can't always get to everybody, but I do my best to eventually ping you back. I'm happy to give you my thoughts on it. And hope this message helps. Thanks a lot and have a great day.